Recently, I started doing my POTA activations with a smaller G90 radio instead of my big 710. And as such, I was trying to get my equipment kit smaller and more compact so that I could be man portable or just easier to take with me. One of the things I've been looking at is new logging apps for my iPad instead of dragging a full laptop along. But it also got me looking into, could I still do FT8? And the answer was yes. There's several videos on YouTube right now already about iFTX. And so I got the hardware and started playing with that. And right before I went out to do an activation, I was browsing the App Store and found another app that says it does FT8 on iPad and iPhone called FT So it looked like this might be an actual new app. There wasn't much talk about it. Nobody had heard of it. And so on this activation, I went ahead and tried both of them and found some interesting things with both and wanted to take a minute to kind of poke around some more and do a video for everybody else that might be interested in these as to which might be better for them. And stick around and let's find out. So first off, just looking around, we've got the web pages up here for both programs. iFTX is a very basic web page to start. FT has definitely done some work to showcase their product here. So at the time of this video, iFTX I believe is $1.99 on the App Store for Apple, and FT is actually free with in-app purchases for donations. So iFTX has obviously had a lot of other coverage elsewhere. It's a very streamlined, simple-looking app. If we look at some of the documentation, there's some information on the settings. A lot of this has been covered in other videos, so we're just going to kind of glance over it real quick. But if we look at FT first off, a flashier web page, kudos on that. Looks like we have a lot of the same features. We've got a received and transmissions, a waterfall, and a map. The map is obviously an addition over iFTX, so that's kind of slick. Features, dual mode decode, FT8 and FT4, so same either way there. What we do gain is this auto sequencer. Let the app handle full FT8, FT4 coverage automatically from CQ detection to 7.3 while you stay in control. What I did notice is this does work pretty slick. On iFTX, my experience was that if I hit CQ, I was occasionally missing calls. And with iFTX, it was getting ready to make another CQ, but it would see somebody else calling me and go ahead and grab the next one. And it also basically went full automatic. This is a feature I've been wishing WSJTX would do. As soon as it says 7.3 with a call, it goes ahead and starts calling CQ again. Live waterfall, we both have. Encode and transmit, both have. Smart logbook is the same. I didn't get a chance to play with this. The slot sync and drift, UTC precision with automatic clock drift correction. I'm assuming it's just doing it in the background. I didn't see anything about it. All done on the machine or the device, no internet needed, and native to iOS. So download link, same sort of setup. Set yourself up, connect your audio, call a reply, and log. They do have a little bit more information on some of the features, pre-built and custom messages. A lot of this is really the same as iFTX. It's just more flashy, more shown on the web page for it. So very nice job here. Audio gain control. This was something I did try and play with, and we will play with here again when we do the demo. I tried to play with this on the activation, and I didn't see any adjustments going on with this, so I'm definitely curious to play with this. iFTX has no gain control on the input. Didn't try this. Wave file decode recorded audio files offline for analysis and troubleshooting. That's interesting. I didn't even know about that. Between FT8 FT4, same thing. Band control. One thing I did notice, and we'll see it when we get in the app here, is they do have the actual frequencies listed in there, so that makes it easier to find. It's one thing I did not like about iFTX. I don't have them all memorized, and so I've got to try and memorize them or to bring a cheat sheet or something to look at those. You can turn it on to automatically received, tracks unique grids, etc. Retry management, some stuff on the waterfall. There was definitely some buttons there. We'll see the toolbar when we get in there. I didn't see this on iPhone. I did see it on iPad, but we'll play with both of those. I haven't even been into their tutorial here, but it does look like they've got one, which is kind of cool. Some info on hardware, etc., etc. So, yeah, I mean, nice looking web page. This is down at the bottom. You'll see FT Ham is put together by probably going to mess up their name. Sorry, Pablo Turian. I don't know how you'd say that. EA4 India, Quebec, Lima. And it does say copyright 2026. The App Store, the first review was from February, and it's only on version 1.2 something. So my guess is he just launched this basically in February. So it may be a brand new app. All right, let's take a look at an iPad here on this. So let's start out with what everybody knows, iFTX. So we start up with iFTX, starts right into a waterfall. We've got listen, reply, call, and then the exchange down here. So very, very simple user interface, FT8 and 4. We've got a help file, and we can adjust the waterfall with some brightness and width. We've got our log. Got our log, and we've got some settings. On settings, we've got call signs, locator, sending to PSK reporter, power band. If we're doing an activity like POTA, last one I was doing here is still in here. CQ addendum like POTA. Do we want to skip replies? Not a lot here. How many messages do we want? Etc. So fairly simple. It does work. So let's go ahead and jump over to FT Ham on the other hand. So FT Ham, as you'll see, is definitely a much more, I don't want to call it a cluttered interface, but there's a lot more going on here. So right now, this is set up so that we've got transmitted on the right and received messages on the left. Very, very similar to what you'd expect with WSJTX. We've got across the top our transmit receive, our waterfall, which, as you can see, this was what I used from that last activation. It was all red, whereas, let's see, oops, get back to the right page here. I don't know if I can look back in the waterfall. No, so I can't look back on the waterfall, but it didn't look the same like that on iFTX. So on this, we're getting a lot more red. It is in receive mode right now, so it should be listening to me. There we go. So I was getting a lot more red on my receptions. The map, which is kind of slick, it's actually, like some other apps I've used, it's giving me some grid squares. I don't know what the red is here. I didn't, unless this might have been stations I was actually receiving in the last thing. There was some DX going on 20 meters. Definitely not stations that I worked, but there was some DX going on in the background. The logbook, very simple. It's there. And then the configuration. On configuration, we have a lot more information here. Call sign, locator. I don't believe it does an auto grid update like the other one does, which is kind of nice. Modifiers, as in CQ parks. There's a bunch already programmed in here looking for different regions. FT4 and 8, so we do have to go into the settings to get to FT4 and 8. What we do gain is our transmission cycle. We can get on the odds or evens, the 030 or 1545. On iFTX, it's all based off of when we hit call CQ or transmit. So I did like that in that we can get a little more locked into, I want to be on this sequence and stay here. We have the bands down here, so changing bands was a little different. You have to get in the settings, but very nice feature here is that they did put the frequency in, and it does change from FT4 to 8. So I did like that because I can't remember the frequency. Frequency offset, I haven't played with that at all. Input gain, we'll test that out. I tried it earlier when I saw all red on the waterfall. I tried turning it all the way down. Didn't see a change. I was using the G90 at the time, and what I'm experiencing so far, I've only had the DigiRig and the G90 for a little bit, but what I'm experiencing with that is that the gain settings in the menu for the auxiliary are not actually changing anything. If I turn the input gain down or the output gain down, I'm not seeing any effects on that. The only things I'm seeing effects on is if I turn the volume up or down on the iPad speakers for going into the radio and coming out of the radio. I'm not seeing any difference. So this could be interesting if it works. Didn't get it to work yet. We do have the auto sequence, how many retries, auto logging, whether you want it to receive at start or not, reply to any CQs received. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, that would make this thing pretty much full automatic. It sees a CQ and it replies to it. And then, of course, only if new band or mode. So only reply to a CQ that has not been confirmed. So you can eliminate that. So, I mean, this app could be plugged into a radio and walked away. Obviously, not good radio practice. We should be in control of our radio at all times. But the app is set to do that, to just respond to CQs. If it's a CQ it hasn't seen, reply to it, and go on from there. The show TX in received messages, basically just that just puts our sense in there. We do have hold TX frequency, so that's something carry over from WSJTX that is gained in here. View mode. So right now it's in vertical. So if we go back to TX RX, vertical, we've got the received on one side, transmit on the other side. If we go back, TX RX separated, it's giving us, oh, come on, cooperate. So we've got two separate ones. So now we've got the received and a tab for transmitted. So if you just want to see what you're sending, just you want to see what you're receiving, is a little bit nicer. You can narrow that down. And then condensed, go back to TXRX, and we get more of a up and down. Received above, transmitted below. So condensed messages there. On an iPhone, and I can show you this on an iPhone, this is cluttered. On an iPad, it's not so bad. I haven't played with it a lot, but just in the first impressions, I actually like the vertical. It's a lot like WSGTX. What I'm sending, what I've received. They do have a little filter, which basically just filtered it down to, is it to me? So that was kind of nice. I was able to just narrow it down, see what was going on. This is where I really started to see, as I was using it, of what it was doing. And you can look back here. So the last one I did was this AE0 Zulu Charlie. But it was Roger 73, and he was calling me, and it spotted that and said, oh, okay, instead of calling CQ again. But otherwise, what it was doing before then was basically just, CQ POTA, then let's see, 4930, go back further, 4945. So it looks like I got 3 calls on that one. It responded to KB4 SYV. He didn't reply, so then it started calling him directly. So this is a feature I haven't seen in WSJTX. I thought this was interesting. So it tried to go ahead and do the next sequence, sending the signal report. Then when it didn't get the expected reply, it started calling him. So that's interesting. Instead of just continuing to send the expected reply or the signal report, So I manually hit, there's a stop QSO button here that will stop that one, but still leaves it in automatic. I hit that one to move on to that. So then it called CQ again. 5216. Let's see where we're at here. So we're off by a second. So 5216. So it looks like we got 2 replies to that one. W6Dad and QE0. And with auto replied to W6Dad. We got a Roger Roger 73 from him. Or a, excuse me, Roger -6. Roger Roger 73 sent by us. And then it went ahead and called the next one instead of going CQ because it heard him still trying to call out to us. So you can see we got at 0053 Zulu, we got the response from W6Dad, and then we also got a call from somebody else. So it realized, hey, I finished this conversation. Let's move on to the next. So that was pretty cool. I like that, especially when you're out doing POTA. You get lots of calls, lots of conversations, and it went ahead and picked up the very next one. Like that, great feature. So then we started the conversation with that. QE0 QEQ. Roger +4. Let's see where we at here. 5415, 54. I got to get timestamps back up here. Roger 06 from him. And then 73s from us. Roger Roger 73 from him. And so then, let's see, it looks like it noticed, instead of calling CQ again, it spotted. Now, either it spotted or I may have auto-replied to some, or manually replied to these, though there is on this one, if you swipe it over, it basically will respond to that one. So I don't remember exactly which ones it was doing, but it was doing some of that where it was replying to incoming calls. Moved down, got that done, and then we closed out the call after that. So that's the layout there. We've got start auto transmit, which is going to start calling CQ, a stop TX, a starter stop receive, a stop QSO down here. And that's about it, other than, like I said, we can swipe over and it went ahead and start sending grid to this station. So it started it. So instead of a touch and hold, it is the swipe. So it's a little interesting. But I like it. You can't inadvertently touch on one and mess it up. So it's a little getting used to, but it does prevent you from messing up. So going down, we've got the rest of our message builders. So we could do a custom message here if we wanted to, or CQ POTA, CN 84, whatever fits in there. And it'll generate the message for the person we're talking to. Help, and then here's what we're talking about. So he does have some donations. It says right here, apps works even if you don't donate. These donations are optional, help support and maintenance. So feedback email. So that's it for the configuration. We pretty much walked through the transmit receive. UTC times up here. The filter is nice. I like that we can narrow that down. It is had the color coding. I haven't figured out what the color coding is. Obviously, this pinkish color is CQs. Do we have anything else in here message-wise? We could look at it live here in a minute. Yeah, all I'm seeing is the pink, white. Oh, there's a orange, so I guess orange was directed to us. Yeah, so orange is obviously directed to me. So different colors than WSJTX, at least default colors, but some settings. We can clear the receive, we can clear the transmit. I liked this. I liked just filtering it out. I just want to see what I'm working on. The waterfall, I mean, you've seen a waterfall, right? They did have, where's it at? Oh, okay. So while we're receiving, apparently it's not there while we're receiving. If you look down here in the bottom corner, you see while we're receiving, there is this little dialog menu that pops up. So we can turn a couple things on, off. The I is I guess just turning it all on and off. We've got the clock to, adds our horizontal lines for the timestamp on there. Not sure what the little dialog box one is. I think that might have been, well, let me scroll back. Maybe. I think that might have been the one, if I remember when I saw it, it would actually, we'll see when we go live. I think it was putting the names of the call signs along the signal. And then our horizontal, we've got our kilohertz lines we can take on and off. And the ruler looks like it's really just showing where we are on things. This little double arrow, I'm going to have to look at that. I honestly don't know what it does. What I did like, so if you're familiar with iFTX, one of the complaints I've heard about, and I agree, is you can't just set your frequency. There's nowhere to go in here and say I want to be at 1600 hertz exactly. You do have to dial it in and just kind of be like, okay, I want to be centered on 16. FT has got the same thing. We have the same problem. I just have to move it to where I want. But, oh, now it stopped working. Well, you can see it stopped here for a second. I don't know what it's doing here. There we go. Oh, so maybe that's what that button is. So it's telling me where I'm at. And it's probably hard to see on the camera. I am screen recording, so we can move this around. But it's giving me 2230, 2200, etc. So it's telling me the hertz. So I can pretty much settle right on 2200 hertz. And so that's, okay, so we figured it out. That's what that little two-way button is. It's basically edit your frequency, and then once I do it, it's holding that. I can scroll down here to find out what something is. Okay, so that's cool. I can't bump this on accident. So that's nice. But it does actually give us the frequency number here, which is nice. So still can't just type in, I want 1500 hertz like you can in WSGTX, but we can get it a lot more close and dialed to where we wanted it to and get a specific number because we can read it. Yeah, it's a little clunky. I mean, I'm at 2138 now. If I wanted to try and get it down to 1600, 98, 16. I mean, I got it, but it could be a little clunky. The map, I mean, I don't know what there is to see on a map. There is some filters here. I haven't played with it much. Obviously, it's showing grids. Like I said, I think these are the grids I was hearing. Because obviously I didn't work this many stations. I only worked like 7 stations in the time that I was using this. So I don't know what turns those on and off. That's our grids, apparently. Not sure what that one is. Some tags. So I could care less. I mean, it's cool to look at, but I really don't. Oh, okay. Tag the grid. That's probably routes. That's probably the lines to the. So I personally probably could care less. It might be kind of cool to look at, but in the moment, I don't really care. I did notice that if I move pages while it's transmitting, receiving, it keeps going. That was nice. The logbook, it's a logbook. I don't know what you want to do. I can delete it. I don't know if you can edit these. Tapping and holding. So I do have delete. So it doesn't look like there's any edit function on it, which why you would need to. I did notice when I did the export, we've got a few different exports versus just exporting it. We've got all logs, a date range, last 7 days, new QSOs. So we can pick that a little bit more. I guess new is probably since you last exported. It is just an ADF file, and then export from there just like any other app on an iPad. This was neat. I thought the little clock here, it's changing the timestamp to local to UTC, so you could see it in local instead of UTC. Kind of neat if you don't want to have to do the math. And back to configuration. So not a lot on it. It does have some differences over um, iFTX, and like I said, I found some of that. I was finding when I was doing iFTX the other day that I'd get in here, cool. I mean, I can listen, I can reply. I'd go to call, and I don't know if I'm on odd or even, but I was seeing, and it was hard to see because you can't see much when you're on call, but I was seeing see messages come in that were to me that it wasn't replying to. And so I didn't like that. I did not like the fact I was missing calls. I think, well, let's just look at the log here. Let's see. So 013. Let's see here. Where's the. So at 13 seconds, Zulu, I pretty much started this at midnight UTC. And so 7 minutes, I guess I did it. I got 4 contacts. And let's go back to the first here. 27, 28, 36, 37, 39. You can see it seems like I was stacking them up faster um, with this. 39, 43, 44, 49. I mean, I was only going a few minutes here in between contacts at the most. And since a normal call takes a minute or so to complete, yeah, I feel like that was a little faster. So we can do a little bit here. We've got the 710 hooked up here if we can find the cable for it. Okay, I'm not really sure what I did, but I got it working here. I think it was something about having it plugged into the iPad when the radio turned on, but I got it. So this is what I was seeing the other day, all red on the waterfall. So it is pulling signals out of there, as we can see. There's let's go ahead and clear our received. See where we're at. Boom. There's a whole bunch of messages. A little bit of DX going on. But the waterfall is pulling those messages out, but we're bright red. Like, I can't see where I could put anything in there. So let's go try that. Let's go configuration. Let's just crank that input gain down to 0.1x and see what we get. So that definitely did make a difference. Now on the G90, I didn't seem to get any difference, and it is still really cluttered. It still looks terrible. I am recording the waterfall on my radio here as well, and it doesn't look anything like that. Let's put the span down. Put that back before I forget where it's at. So with this, we're definitely able to dial it down with the USB out level and get things dialed in a little bit nicer. So the waterfall is functioning. I was not getting these results with the G90, and it could be fun to plug this back in and play with it more here on the bench versus in a car. But I was not able to dial it back like this on the G90. Even turning the gain all the way down to 0, got nothing. So I'm personally beginning to think that setting's a little messed up in the G90s right now. But there we are. It is functioning. Let's go ahead and go. I'm going to crank my radio down. I don't want to talk to everybody in the world here. Tune it up here. And let's make sure we're not doing parks anymore. So we are hearing stations on 10 meters. There's a response. Oh. One other thing that'd be cooler is if they had like an actual look up here, right? Who's this that's responding to me? So you're completing a call here. So they've replied, Roger, Roger, or Roger, I'm doing Roger, Roger 7.3. Notification pops up, it has been logged. And it's already reverting back to calling CQ again. So this part of the functionality I really like. The more I'm looking at and playing with this, the more I'm liking it. 7.3 replied from them, and we're already back to transmitting. So I've wanted this features in WSJTX for some time. I want to be able to sit here, call CQ, have it just go ahead and start up again, especially when I'm doing parks in the air. For an iPad, this is great. So far, I really genuinely enjoy single sideband better. Those pileups just way more fun than this. But I do want to be able to grab a backpack with a G90, a small battery, an iPad, and go out in the field and do some activating. And for those days where things just aren't working very well, and 20 watts of voice just isn't getting us where we want to go, flip over, plug in the DigiRig, go to FT8, and hopefully at least pull an activation out of it. Or if you want to be a little more relaxed, maybe you're at the beach, something like that. You just want to, enjoy the view a little bit more, not be making a lot of noise. This is a great feature set. Just let the thing go. You can sit there and keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's definitely a little more awkward, a little more busy looking than iFTX, but yeah, that part's great. I don't know what happens. I do have the iPad set up to allow me to run windowed modes. I don't know what will happen if we try and run multiple apps here at once. Oops. Because I should be able to pull these up side by side. So it appears that is continuing to do its thing, even in the background, no matter what, which is kind of cool. So I mean, I'm not even have it as the active app. It's still doing what it's supposed to do. Radio's still keying up. So you could get away from this and be in something else. And let's just open Ham2K, for example. See what happens here. So in that case, it did stop doing it, looks like. If I were to transmit, let's go back to Ham2K. Okay, so not being active, it didn't like it, but if it's open side by side with this whole multitasking thing that you can do in iPads nowadays, it definitely is functioning. And there's iFT8 or iFTX is pulling stations out now too. It's transmitting in the background. So you could have, a log program side by side or a call sign lookup or whatever if you want to. I mean, I don't use this on an iPad much I tend to just like my apps full screen. I'm used to it. But you could. So now I'm not getting any activity anymore. Radio's still transmitting. We're just not getting anywhere. So we could try looking for a little different frequency. But yeah, I don't know what else to go over. The app is definitely different than iFT8. I will be continuing to play with both of them. Yeah. So hopefully that gives you a little quick down and dirty about the app. We could show it on iPhone. Maybe that's probably a different video. It is a little bit different on iPhone. It's a lot smaller, a lot harder to use. But you could use it I have used it in the field one time now, and started with iFTX that day, and got kind of frustrated in the first few minutes with iFTX of not knowing that I was missing calls, or if I was missing calls and how to reply to them. Um, if I was, it's got the call CQ, and then it goes to the exchange page, and you don't really see all the other traffic that's going on. And it seemed like it just basically ignored, it would grab one reply, and then I would have to manually hit CQ again. And because I can't control the time slot, it would potentially, I'd end up talking on the person that's trying to talk to me. So I might have been alternating time slots from time to time because I wouldn't be fast enough to hit the call CQ at the right time. So for me, this new FT ham, I do like that it controls some of those things. I can lock my frequency, I can lock my time slot, get it to stay, and continue with a couple of those things. Right now, my first impressions are, I felt like I was more successful with FT ham. There is a little more control there, and pick what you want. But for me, I will continue to play with both of them. I will try both of them. I will try to get better iFTX. But right now, this FT ham is the winner in my book. It is it's delivering better. The automation is great. I did feel like there was a couple times where it would get stuck in calling 7.3s, or trying to send the same report to a station that should have been moving on. It did feel like that happened a couple times at first, but as I got further into the activation that day, it did seem like that got better. So maybe it was just me not running it yet, running it very well yet, or whatever. But so far, this is the app I'm liking. So hope you enjoyed. We'll have updates as they come. Thanks.